Hello and welcome to the Tower Circus in Blackpool for the second session of this year's Mosconi Cup. The Europeans are the defending champions and are hoping to win again this year to make it 7 wins in the last 8. But the Americans are out for revenge after some humiliating results over the past few Mosconi Cups, and they have some new players in their lineup and hope this will bring them success. After the first day of the Mosconi Cup, it was the Europeans leading the charge 3-2 in this race to 11 points, but the Americans were determined to fight back. In the opening doubles game of Session 2, the USA looked assured throughout, as they got the better of the European pair Niels Fine and Mark Gray, levelling the scores. But celebrations were short-lived, as hometown hero Carl Boys swept aside Corey Jewell 5-2 to restore Europe's lead. Confirmation of the results so far then. The Europeans now lead the charge 4-3. There are still 3 more matches to play here on day 2, 2 doubles and 1 singles. Coming up next, Darren Appleton and Nikos Ekonomopoulos pair up against John Schmidt and Shane van Boening. It's guaranteed to be another exciting game as Team USA hope to level the scores once more. In the commentary box for this one, Jerry Forsyth and Phil Yates.
4-3, Europe's lead. And now we get to see Nikos Ekonomopoulos and Darren Appleton up against John Schmidt and Shane van Boening.
Yes, Ekonomopoulos from Greece. It's a truly European enterprise, this Mosconi Cup, over the years. Greece, one of 13 countries represented in the team in the 21 editions of this tournament.
Ekonomopoulos is a great guy. I was talking to him before the matches started tonight, and he said, I was amazed that such a great player would come out of Greece. He said, we've got a lot of great players. In the tournament there, I've only got about a 35% chance of winning. I said, oh, only 35%.
Well, that's unusual, the Americans winning the lag.
Hasn't happened often, but that's a great advantage. If they go rack for rack,
USA to break.
The team who lags wins.
Settle down then, please.
Van Boening, I know, wants revenge for that loss last night. Oh, and he scratched on the break, giving ball in hand to Europe.
Ball shot, ball in hand.
Well, he's a wonderful player, Van Boening, but that will really hurt him.
Yeah, got kicked in by the 5 ball.
An early gift for the Europeans, and these two, when it comes to competitive natures, are hard men in the extreme.
Yeah, they're discussing the big problem on the table, which is getting from the 4 ball to the 5. The 2 orangish balls on the left-hand side of the table. The 4 ball's closer to the pocket than the 5. So it's a little bit of a narrow alley to work into. 8 ball's position makes it a little bit tougher. Oh, but he got perfect. Now getting back and forth across the table for position on the 5 without running into the 8 ball. Yeah, it was the position that gave him trouble. And now he has really gift wrapped this table for Team America.
Well, I said the scratch would hurt Van Boening. That miss will hurt the Europeans even more.
John was begging that ball to come a little bit further up table. This shot is really no challenge for Shane. He'll just cut this ball in and come back across the table for the 6.
Extension. Extension called.
Van Boening asked for the extension. Nigel Rees didn't hear him first time, but did the second.
John Schmidt was showing perfect cue ball control yesterday. I don't think he's overly pleased with that position, Phil, but it'll work.
And we talked about the debut boys earlier on, Hall and Bergman. For Schmidt, he hasn't played in the Mosconi Cup for 8 years. Reacquaintance with pressure, and this is a pressurised shot. The cue ball ran on a little too far for comfort.
Nigel Rees looking on to make sure there's no foul on the 9 ball. If you touch another ball on the table while you're shooting, the other team gets ball in hand.
I'd be surprised if Shane Van Boening missed this, but it's not out of the question.
Shane makes it, nothing but net, never touches the face of the pocket. And Schmidt and Van Boening take the early lead, 1-0. It is, of course, a race to 5.
Welcome back to the Mosconi Cup at the Tower Circus in Blackpool. This is the event which puts the greatest pool players to the test as the United States and Europe go toe-to-toe. So far, the Europeans lead the overall score 4-3. But Team USA are fighting back. Down on the table at the moment, it's the European duo Darren Appleton and Nikos Ekonomopoulos against the American pair John Schmidt and Shane Van Boening. And Team USA have taken the early lead 1-0 in this race to 5 racks. Let's rejoin your commentary team.
Wow, what an out that was.
He's a smashing guy, John Schmidt. Good communication with the team leader. And there's Darren Appleton, sick after missing the ball that gave the Americans the chance to draw first blood in this doubles.
Yeah, that's got to be a very disappointing shot for Appleton because he just does not miss
Thank
those.
you, rack 2. You up to break, trailing by 1 rack.
But the Mosconi Cup
Settle
is
down,
full of
please.
oddities. Things you never see at other tournaments. Now this boy can break. He's strong as a mule. And the 2 ball gets tapped in by the 6 to keep Team Europe at the table.
One in the open, I'll tell you what, saved by the bell here. Looked as though it was going to be not up to his usual standards, and then finally in goes the 2 to his great relief.
I promise you he did not want that cue ball winding up there. Watch where the cue ball is on the table after this shot, and you're going to see that cueing this ball is going to be difficult because he's got to shoot over a ball. This is tough. And that's what can happen. Uncomfortable cueing. I mean, that's just not the way you cue a stick. And when you have to jack up the rear of your cue, anything can happen. You can't use your normal stroke.
And the reason Ekonomopoulos was in that pickle was because Appleton almost overcut the previous part, and he knocked it into the heart of the pocket, the one ball. The cue ball wouldn't have been there. It would have been unimpeded cueing, and the Americans would not have been back at the table. Well, you said it in the first rack, Jerry, it was gift wrapped, and this one could well be exactly the same.
If they can get on the 5, because the 5 is blocked from its easiest pocket by the 6 ball. But there, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 other pockets it can go in. I don't know that it can reach the side, but oh, perfect.
There's a different feel tonight. I don't know whether you agree with me, Jerry, but Jim White made a very good point right at the start of the show, saying that he anticipated that the Americans, having overcome the initial shock of this crowd, have started to bed in. They feel a lot more comfortable, feel a lot more involved in the overall match, and it's shining through.
I've talked to a couple of the Americans today, and they're enjoying the crowd. They say we don't get to play to appreciative crowds like this. This is great. And sure, they appreciate Europe more than America, but, you know, crowd noise can spur you on. Schmidt and Van Boening now, 2-0 over Appleton and Ekonomopoulos. So Team Europe needs to dig deep. No more mistakes.
Personally, it was a very gratifying evening for John Schmidt last night when he won his singles against Mark Gray. Wasn't a good evening for Van Boening. Wants to make amends.
Just listen to what they're saying.
The 4 to the 5 was tricky.
Well, I believe their conversation is over, but I always like listening to the players talk to one another. You can pick up where their attitude is, not only from what they say, but their tone of voice. There's Captain Mark Wilson beside his wife. And he studies everything that happens. He's making mental notes.
To break, trailing 2 racks to 0.
And that will be his team meeting
Nice and quiet then,
after
please.
this evening concludes. Whatever he sees, he'll tell his team all about it. That's dry. And Europe has a shot here. Yeah, the balls are not exploding apart tonight. They're coming apart a bit creepy, frankly.
Here are the side rail. Here are the side rail. Come back and cross, or do you want it here?
Oh, what do you prefer? To make it good.
That was a little brutal from Nikos there. I don't care where you put it, just make the ball.
That's okay.
Yeah, nice spot to get on the 3 ball. Nikos still had his break cue in his hand, so he had to go back and fetch his playing cue. What a solid cueing artist that man is.
The European crowd have been a little subdued in the first couple of racks, understandably so. Want to get back into full voice here, and there's no reason why they shouldn't.
Extension call.
But they're being appreciative of both sides, really. I mean, they're applauding the Americans when they make a good shot. This has been an excellent crowd. Did not want to hit that 7. That was a tragic collision because Phil, he's got to turn this cue ball loose if he tries to cut this ball in. That took all the energy out of the cue ball. Darren's going to have to go safe. Cue ball's not going fast enough to scratch, but sure was headed in that direction. But it gives him a partial block there, Phil.
He caught a smidgen of that 5 ball. It was the thinnest contact imaginable.
He's got a full block out of that. Van Boening kicking. That's going to wind up with an easy shot into the corner for Europe. You know, Phil, I've watched Shane Van Boening play for many, many, many years, and this is not his normal game. He has not found his game yet. When he does, watch out.
Well, this is a rack that was badly needed by the Europeans.
All right, Europe finds a mark on the board. Trails by 1. Score is 2-1. There's more great pool coming to you from Blackpool in just a moment.
Evening 2 of the Party Poker Mosconi Cup, and 2 words come to mind: tense and tight. The Americans got off to a great start this evening. The 2 Justins beating Fine and Gray 5-2. Back came Carl Boyes, the local hero, with a heroic performance against Corey Jewell. Now though, Schmidt and Van Boening lead in the second doubles match of this session against Appleton and Ekonomopoulos. The score 2-1 as rack number 4 is about to begin.
Rack 4, Europe to break, trailing 1 rack to 2. Settle down now, please.
Let's see a classic Darren Appleton break.
It's a dry break. America comes to the table. Everything flies around. All to no avail.
And this might be quite a lengthy rack because the balls are quite awkwardly placed. 3 down there, well away from the 1, and not the best configuration.
Yeah, they're gonna play safe here. All he's going for is distance.
This, of course, a rematch of sorts between Ekonomopoulos and that man, Shane Van Boening. They met in the recent Whirlpool Masters final at the Portland Centre in Nottingham. And on that occasion, Van Boening had his measure. Comfortably so.
Van Boening knocked him out of the U.S. Open as well.
Extension call. Settle down, please.
And that scares Nikos not in the slightest. Well, he would have liked to have tucked behind that 6 ball. As is, he's left John a full ball to work with. Looks like he's going for the bank.
Well, after that missed bank, the 1 is on, but look at this table. So much work to do.
And there's a lot of blue between that cue ball and that 1 ball. Does Appleton have any ghost running through his head right now from the earlier errors? Not a 1, not a single 1. And look at the shape he's got on the 2, straight in. And there's a carom available on the 3-9. He can hit the 3 ball first, carom the 9 ball into the corner pocket. And that's what he's looking at, Phil. He's got so much confidence in his partner to pull this shot off.
Settle down, please.
The initial 1 ball echoes of the 2 he knocked in at a vital stage of his singles against Van Boening late last night here.
I don't know if he's got the angle now for that carom. I can't quite. Yeah, I believe he does. There it's down. Europe comes screaming back. They are now tied up in this match that they trailed by 2 so soon ago. I mean, this is fantastic competition. 2-2 and a race to 5.
This was the shot that won them the rack. Indirectly, though. It wasn't just that excellence from Appleton, it was the 1 ball as well. Super.
Well, that'll give them the spark of life they were looking for.
Johan Reischink there, delighted with the mini comeback that's been achieved by the Europeans in this match. Of course, they're trying for the 2nd time this evening to establish a 2-point lead in the overall contest. They didn't manage that in the first doubles tonight when Fayen and Gray
2-2.
were beaten by Hall and Bergman. What about now?
Well, he's made a ball, but he's going to be a long way away from that 2. However, this is John Schmidt. He's quite a shot maker. Here's another look at the break. You can see how this table is setting up with that long shot on the 2. But all he's got to do is thinking about making that shot, because position on the 3, that's automatic. Oh, he decided to go safe.
Theoretically, the length of the table bank is on, but It's a matter of whether he can hold the cue ball for the 3. No point taking that risk.
No.
If there's going to be no reward.
I would really expect him to bank the 2 ball straight back down the table and leave it on the head rail and leave that cue ball down there somewhere behind the 7 possibly. Oh, he tried to carry him the 3 ball. These fellas are trying anything. And look, there's a possible 2-9 here.
Lots of distance though between the 2 and the 9, and awkward cueing as well.
It is, but if he uses the 9 ball to stop the 2, he can play a safe at the same time by sending the cue ball back down to the other end of the table behind the colors.
Extension called.
Well, he is cueing over a ball. Safety is probably the better option here. That's just no good.
There is just a tiny segment of the 3 sticking out in behind the 4. It does spot.
Yeah, Darren said it goes. Yes, it does go into the right-hand side of the pocket. He's got to get down just past the head string to pull that off. Wow. I didn't realize that he could see it that far away. But apparently he can, Phil.
And when this one goes in, as assuredly it will, it's a case of open sesame.
Yeah, from there it's just connect the dots. Four and the 5 will go in the same pocket. Oh, Nikos is very frustrated with that effort. He can't believe he did that. He's a good foot short of the position he wanted, Phil.
We are liberal with our superlatives, Jerry, and when you're that, you should also be liberal with your criticism, and that was perhaps the worst shot of the entire tournament for me.
Certainly unexpected. Although we did have a lag that went halfway down the table. So, oh, Darren is going to kill himself for this. He's knocked his cue onto the floor. Sitting down, an angry man.
That, ladies and gentlemen, if the Americans were to win this rack, would be a real turning point. Okay, Appleton missed the pot, but what a terrible positional shot from Ekonomopoulos.
Yeah, they share the blame for that one. Still nothing easy here. Tries a two-way shot, but doesn't get the safe out of it. He really wanted that cue ball to be between the 6 and 7.
I'll tell you what, Ekonomopoulos at the moment feels like a footballer or a soccer player for the Americans who scored an own goal and then has the chance to score at the right end to redeem the situation.
Well, I'm sure Nikos is telling him not to worry about it too much. Let's just play pool.
Big rack, very big rack.
Europe leads us now 3-2 in our race to 5. Very nice turnaround for the Euros.
Welcome back to the Mosconi Cup. At the table right now, Appleton and Ekonomopoulos have just won 3 racks in a row against Schmidt and Boening, and they now lead 3-2. This is certainly turning out to be another exciting Mosconi Cup as the USA and Europe battle it out. Earlier on in this second session, the USA team won the first doubles, but Europe's Carl Boys swept aside Corey Jewell to give Europe the lead once again. So far, the defending champions Europe lead overall 4-3. Can they extend that advantage after this match? Let's find out as we hand back to your commentators.
The only involvement of the session for Ekonomopoulos is this match. He wants to go to bed this evening, having contributed another point to the tally.
Well, he's made a couple of balls on the break. I'm not too sure about this happiness on the 1 ball. It was a great break. It'll be better if that 1 ball falls in a few moments. He's going to play this in the corner so he can come right back across the table for that 3 ball, the red ball on the right-hand side of the table. He actually overcooked that a little bit because he wanted to be fairly straight. You see where the 4 ball is, right by the side pocket. So they're going to have to change their plan and come back and forth across the table and play the 4 in the side instead of the corner. Straight in. All he has to do is stop it right here because the 5 ball's waiting for him to go into the other side pocket. He would like to be just below the 5 ball so that the cue ball will then be floating down for the green 6.
Yes, and these middle pockets are cut unforgivingly. Can't take this one for granted at all. Have to respect it. Accuracy required.
The one advantage to the side pocket, and many fans may not realize this, is the side pocket is ½ an inch wider than the corner pockets. Bit bigger hole.
Extension call.
Always looking for angles when it comes to position, and this one looks a little straight. So options might be more limited than normal, but it shouldn't be an issue.
Pull it back to where it is now. Huh? Just put it back where it is now.
Wow. Appleton's calling for a tough shot. He says put the cue ball back where it is now, and he's going to have to stretch across the table to make that cut on the 6. Glad he likes it. That's exactly where Appleton asked for the cue ball to be placed. This is huge here. This is the rack. If he makes this ball, they'll win the rack. He did.
It looks like 4 on the trot. Remember, Europe were 2-0 down.
Well, Europe had just gone to the hill. They lead 4-2, but it's America's break. So they still have an opportunity in this match. Can we hear what Appleton's saying?
Like a funny angle. I couldn't really come out. Very nice one. One ball.
Yeah, Nikos is really encouraging Appleton there, congratulating him on his shots, his good shots. He knows his teammate's in a bit of a mental quagmire, and he's going to pull him out of there.
Thank you, rack 7, USA to break, trailing 2 racks to 4.
A good break and layout would come in very handy indeed. The Americans need a boost.
This table has really changed overnight, Phil. Remember all the break and runs we saw last night? We saw 6 break and runs in a row. They've been pretty rare tonight.
Yes, the regularity of dry breaks definitely increasing.
Yeah, the dry breaks were really haunting Carl Boys. If my records are right, he had 3 in one match.
Push. Push, pop. Where to?
Well, I think it's been decided they're going to push out. That's quite clear. Now it's a matter of making the choice as to whether they push to a bowl position or keep it conservative.
Now America has to make the decision. Do we want to take this on? If they give it back and the shot is made, oh, that's a mistake. And if they take it and they miss the shot, and it's rough, let's face it, Van Boening does not have his usual confidence, or he hasn't displayed it so far this evening. Phil, that looked like a miss, but he didn't play position on the 2, so that was a safety all the way.
And the 1 ball is well guarded here.
Yeah. You can come here, right? Yeah. Fine from the... Have a look. We've got an extension.
Extension called.
Yeah, the left English on the cue ball.
He wants to try and pop that ball further off the rail by putting a little left on it. Got to contact the 1. Could turn out to be a good shot, or it could be a scratch. He could scratch right off the side of that 1 into the corner pocket. Whoa. Did not make a hit. America has ball in hand.
Start the clock.
John wants to go for the 3 foul. And did he get close enough to the 7 to take away enough angle to make sure there's no easy hit? Apparently he did not, because Appleton is measuring where he plans to strike the rail with the cue ball, but that looks, wow, that looks awful close. How's he going to get to that place he pointed to on the rail with that? He's aiming it right at it, yeah. Not a great result. He's got a shot into the side pocket, and the 3 ball actually makes that pocket bigger. And, you know, if they want to go for the 3 fouls, he's got safety options available. He goes for the side, using that 3 to knock him in.
Nice table now. The way the Americans have gone about this rack, I think, has been vindicated.
This should be the toughest shot they face, and it's not the shot. It's getting the right shape on that 3 ball. Watch out. Van Boening doesn't look overly concerned, so he must have enough balls that he can work a shot. Oh, yeah. Don't know that he can get to the side, but oh, he can. Six ball is blocked from its obvious. Oh, that was all about trying to get shape on that 6. Now, did the 8 ball prevent this ball from going into the corner? Have they gotten very fortunate here? Nope. Easy combination.
You know, last night, Jerry, even though he won his singles, John Schmidt came off and admitted to shaking like a leaf. He looked very rigid down on that shot as well.
Well, there's no reason the Americans should come back to the table now. You just saw Nikos show Darren where he wants the cue ball to wind up. I'm sure Mr. Appleton will be happy to oblige. Should Europe come through with this rack and win this match, it'll be the first time any team is led by a margin of 2.
I think it would be an exaggeration to say it would be psychologically daunting, that scoreline, but certainly psychologically worrying for the Americans. The Europeans in this match made a faltering start. Balls were missed, mistakes were made. Schmidt and Van Boening led 2-0. Now, though, they're on the verge of defeat.
That will be what they call perfect.
Here's a quick start. Shane Van Boening, 45 matches in total in the Mosconi Cup. This looks like being his 25th defeat. Appleton and Nikos Ekonomopoulos come from 2-0 down to win 5-2. And look at the overall scoreline. Europe, the defending Mosconi Cup champions, now lead 5-3.
It's turning out to be a night for the Europeans as they've now won 2 matches on the spin. They now move another point closer to winning this year's trophy. Confirmation of the results here so far tonight. We started with the doubles and it went the way of the Americans as the Justins beat the European pair 5-2. Then Carl Boys beat Corey Jewell by the same score. And it was a fantastic comeback by the European pair Appleton and Ekonomopoulos as they beat the Americans 5-2. There are still 2 more matches left in this session, 1 doubles and 1 singles. Next time it's Niels Fine and Justin Bergman as both men make a bid to get another point on the board. The crowd are certainly showing their appreciation for the Europeans here at Blackpool. Can they continue this momentum? Find out next time.